All right, in his new memoir, former President Trump's Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, suggests that the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, schemed with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump about replacing Mike Pence as the vice president. Haley is now weighing in, telling Fox News it never happened.
Pompeo even says he's not sure if it's true. I never had a conversation with Jared, Ivanka, or the president about the vice presidentship. And, you know, what I'll tell you is it's really sad when you're having to go out there and put lies and gossip to sell a book. I mean, I don't know, why he said it, but that's exactly why I stayed out of D.C. as much as possible, to get away from the drama and get away from the gossip. I literally did not speak with anyone in the administration about that at all. It was gossip. Mike Pence is my friend. It is gossip. It was never discussed. If somebody else discussed it, they certainly didn't discuss it with me. I mean, it's just gossip. This is all gossip. There's no truth to it. And Mike even says in his book, it's just gossip.
Joining us now, CNN political commentator Ana Navarro and CNN political analyst and senior political correspondent for the New York Times, Maggie Haberman.
Just gossip.
Good. Yeah, well,
I'm glad we weren't having a drinking game where the key word was gossip.
Gossip.
Right.
Maggie, she says she doesn't know why Pompeo writes this, but I think it's pretty clear. He's taken some shots at maybe some 2024 rivals.
He writes about her. He writes about John Bolton. The one rival he doesn't seem to really take on is Donald Trump. He's the one I mean, I haven't read this book, but what I've read of the coverage is he generally spares the person for whom he worked, other than, I think, a passing, glancing blow in a couple of places on a couple of key issues. But yes, he is clearly writing this because he is looking at the field and he's seeing what is coming. I will say these kinds of rumors abounded in real time. You remember this, I remember this. Folks around Kushner and Ivanka Trump denied it. I have no idea what's true, what's not true. I will say she's not wrong, that it was really surprising to see a former Secretary of State who spent a lot of time attacking the mainstream media for credibility writing. I don't know if this is true, but I'm putting it in my book anyway.
Yeah, that part is fascinating. Do you believe what she says, that it's just gossip? Or do you think there's some truth to it, Anna?
I don't know which of the two, who of these two to believe, frankly. I think you need to put something gossipy and salacious in books because that's what gets the coverage. And what I find really fascinating is the amount of former Trump administration people, including the vice president, the UN ambassador, the former Secretary of State, who are actively putting on they're actively going through the process of putting on a presidential campaign or a nomination campaign, despite the fact that the guy who they worked for has already announced that he is running. So just the little effect that Donald Trump's announcement has had is astounding to me, given the support he once had and the loyalty we thought he had.
Let me just follow up with Maggie. So I want to ask you the same question. Do you believe that there's some truth to this?
I think it is very possible that there is some truth to this. I have no proof. I have no way of knowing for sure. I do know that we were hearing lots of talk about Trump, floating the idea of, is Pence loyal? We know that Rupert Murdoch, an ally of Trump's at the time, but also of Jared Kushner, was talking up Nikki Haley to a lot of people. And I know that after a friend of Trump's wrote a column about how he should replace Pence with Haley, that Jared Kushner called that, and I reported this in my book, called that friend and complimented him on the column. So there's certainly enough dots there to believe it. But again, I'm not Mike Pompeo. I'm not saying I know it's true.
Well, and you're right. Mike Pompeo was suggesting it in his book, bringing John Kelly into it. But it does raise questions about Haley running in 2024, to your point there, Anna. And she was asked about this because she once said, if Trump runs, I'm not going to run. Now she's saying something different.
I had a great working relationship with the president. What I'll tell you is the survival of America matters, and it's bigger than one person. And when you're looking at the future of America, I think it's time for new generational change. I don't think you need to be 80 years old to go be a leader in D.C. I think we need a young generation to come in, step up, and really start fixing things. If I run, I'm running against Joe Biden. If I'm this passionate and I'm this determined, why not me?
Sounds like she is heavily considering a run.
That was not subtle, and that was quite antithetical to what she has talked about before, about not running if Donald Trump was.
Who is Nikki Haley?
I mean, that's been a question that I think has been looked at for a while since she was governor. I think that she was pretty critical of Trump. Remember, in 2015, when he was, making all kinds of inflammatory statements, and
When she was pulling the Confederate flag off of the State
correct,
House. Yeah.
and then she went to work for him, and then she defended him repeatedly, and she has defended him over and over and over again, and then she criticized him as soon as he was out of office, and then she tried to backtrack on that. So I think who is Nikki Haley is going to be a question that if she runs is going to get asked a lot.
Well, that's what I
I don't
asked.
put that much stock on anything she says because she's always contradicting herself just a little bit afterwards, right? Whenever I hear Nikki Haley, it's the song plays on my head. Will the real Nikki Haley please stand up? Because she will say
But I
whatever
mean, what
she
does she
thinks.
stand for? That's what I'm saying. Like,
And I'm
is she
telling
like
you, she stands for whatever is convenient at the moment, and whatever. And when she gets blowback, then she pulls back. We saw that happen on January 6th during the January 6th. What happened after January 6th, and she was critical. Then she went and apologized. Then she was this and that. So she's been all over the place on so many issues. And in the meantime, though, she's on corporate boards. And I can tell you that Nikki Haley today is a lot better off financially than she was before being in the administration. So she's been able to really, she has been able to navigate the Trump administration without having great blowback, without being tainted, as some have been, and monetizing on it.
But I don't know that she's going to be able to capitalize on that politically, and I have
But
questions about
that's
that.
the question. I mean, there could be an opening for her if she is one who comes out of the administration unscathed and is able to successfully use that into a formidable presidential run. We'll see. Maggie, you also have new reporting this morning on a conversation we've been talking about all week here, which is Trump's campaign and his relationship with evangelicals who delivered the White House to him in 2016. Now he's criticizing prominent leaders who aren't rushing to endorse him.
Yeah, as disloyal. His favorite word. It was also the word that he used for any former officials in his administration who might run against him. We hear him say this all the time. And Nikki Haley was one name I asked him about when I interviewed him for my book, and he talked about, disloyalty. Look, it is a risky game that he's playing. We don't know what's going to happen with the investigations into him. I just want to caveat that right off the bat. If there is movement there, it's going to make it very complicated for evangelical leaders, even if Trump tried staying in a race. But right now, he's the only declared candidate, and they are grateful to things he did in office, but they have other options. It was notable that Pastor Robert Jeffress hosted Mike Pence last weekend. Now, Jeffress is still sounding very, very pro-Trump, but the fact that he was willing to offer Pence an audience, I think, tells you that you are seeing some shift away from Trump. Will it be enough? I don't know, because we have seen voters, move away from their leaders and toward Trump before. But there is definitely a softening, just as there is in other parts of the Republican
I'm getting
Party.
deja vu all over again, though, because I remember after the Access Hollywood tapes, when the evangelical
Oh my
leaders all
gosh,
stepped
Anna.
away, and yet when it was clear he was going to be the nominee, they all lined up against him after.
And the voters didn't
behind
step
him.
away. That's the
I
thing.
also think you're feeling the absence of Jerry Falwell. Who's probably
completely agree with you, and we
sitting,
wrote about that in our
he's
story.
probably
I
sitting
completely agree.
by a pool somewhere in Miami currently. So I think he was 100% loyal to him, and that's a big void that's been left in evangelical leadership. But I underestimated Trump and the evangelicals in 2016, and I would warn people not to do that, because right now you're seeing it from other politicians, you're seeing it from donors, you're seeing it from evangelical leaders, that they are toying with the idea of somebody other than Trump. They are indicating they want somebody other than Trump. But if it is Trump, they're going to line up behind him like they once did in 2016.
If he's the nominee, they're going to line up behind him. I think the question is what happens in this primary campaign, in which he's still the only declared candidate. So,
And I'm
who
still
knows?
getting deja vu all over again because of all of the Republicans that seem to be, that are going to be on that stage opening up the path.
Can you
for
please
Trump.
stop bringing up the Access Hollywood tape night? Because I feel like we're still on the air waiting for Trump to respond.
I will never get over the Access Hollywood tape
went on
night
for
and
like
the fact
80
that we
hours.
that America elected the man in those tapes. I will go to my grave thinking about that.
Thank you both.